Welcome back to the James McGee Show. I am your host. I am James McGee. So now more than any other time in our nation, leadership is very important in government and really anywhere. Electing and appointing strong leaders in our government is the number one key to a successful government, a successful community, especially as police chiefs. So a trend that seems to be happening in our nation are liberal-minded, police chiefs of liberal philosophies. Well, that's not surprising because they're appointed by liberal mayors. We have some cities, we have the absolute most liberal mayors than ever have been. Look at New York City, look at Minneapolis, what a total disaster this clown Jacob Fry being mayor. So what would he appoint? But I have an argument against liberal police chiefs. Liberal police chiefs should not exist. Good morning, Tyler. Liberal police chiefs should be non-existent because liberal ideology, liberal philosophy does not fit law enforcement. There's no room for liberal philosophy in law enforcement. Law enforcement is about law and order. It is about protecting our citizens. And liberals are totally against that. They run on public safety. Well, their idea of public safety is completely different than what has proven to work throughout history. Throughout history, the broken windows concept of policing that was established in the 90s that cleaned up New York City has been demolished by liberal mayors, liberal police chiefs. Again, liberal police chiefs should not even be a thing because your job doesn't matter what your political beliefs are. The liberal philosophy, again, does not fit into law enforcement. It does not fit into a law-abiding community, a law-abiding society. It does not fit. But like anybody else, a liberal mayor is going to go find someone who fits their beliefs. Well, once again, that belief should not even exist. There's no room for liberal philosophy in police work. Our men and women in law enforcement, more than any other time in history, need strong leadership. We need strong men and women as chiefs who have a conservative philosophy, who believe in law and order, and more importantly, believe in letting cops be cops. Training them, developing them, and then letting them go out and be cops. That's not happening. We see a trend, and I have several examples this morning. We see a trend of police chiefs who are too busy about jock riding their mayor and passing their mayor's philosophy and totally abandoning their oath and who their oath is supposed to be for. So I'm going to start with the Minneapolis police chief, Brian O'Hare. And we'll play this video and then we'll talk about him.
This department is committed to honoring the human dignity of every person in our community. The Minneapolis Police Department does not participate in immigration enforcement. We do not care and do not ask people about immigration status. People in our community need to know that they can feel confident that when they need help, they can call 911 and we will show up for everyone, and not be afraid to call because they think we might turn them over for some civil immigration violation.
Okay, Chief Ass Clown. Let me dissect a couple of the absolute the insane things that you said. Number one, you admitted that you order your officers to commit malfeasance. They're ignoring people that are breaking the law. We do not enforce immigration. Well, it is a law. And in your oath, you took an oath and you swear that you were going to honor the Constitution of the United States, honor the laws of the United States. But not only do you choose to ignore that, now you're giving false information. It is 1,000% false that being in this country illegally is a civil offense. They have developed that false narrative, and they because it sounds good. Well, that's just a civil offense. We don't enforce civil law. It's not. It's a criminal offense to enter or stay in this country illegally. Therefore, Chief O'Hara, you are absolutely wrong. You are an embarrassment to the profession. You're an embarrassment to your community. All you do is walk around cradling Jacob Fry's pathetic little balls and call yourself a chief, call yourself a leader of men. You call yourself a leader of men? I mean, he looks the part. Big, strong, masculine-looking guy. On the exterior, he looks the part. But on the interior, nothing but a liberal little sissy. Cowering down to Jacob Fry and the rest of the liberal mafia of Keith Ellison, Ilhan Omar. You are an absolute pathetic excuse for a cop. You shouldn't even be a cop, much less a police chief. Even worse example is in Portland, Oregon. I've never met a more buffoon of a police chief. Let's watch this guy. I don't remember his name. Maybe his name will pop up. Name's really not important. Day, Chief Day.
A moment specifically to my Latino community. It saddens me that we even have to qualify these remarks, because I understand, or at least have attempted to understand through your voices, your concern, your fear, your anger. This information in no way is meant to disparage or to condone or support or agree with any of the actions that occurred yesterday. But it is important that we stay committed to the rule of law, that we stay committed to the facts, that we stay a trustworthy and legitimate police department for all of Portlanders. They do have some nexus to involvement with TDA. We can confirm that. We know that we had a shooting in Northeast Portland in July of this year, and the victim in that shooting was self-identified as a Venezuelan immigrant who informed us that the suspects in that shooting were associated with TDA. I want to speak for...
Why are you crying, bro? Why are you crying? So you're crying over Venezuelan gang members who were killed by Border Patrol enforcing federal immigration law because you refused to do your job as police chief. At what point did it become necessary to apologize to a gang community? This man's on camera, on TV, crying because 2 gang members were killed trying to run over Border Patrol agents in his city, his Latino community. What does that even mean? My Latino community. What does that even mean, Chief Buttfuck? You are a complete fucking clown. But this is what our liberal cities have decided to select as police chiefs. And we wonder why crime in Portland is the way that it is. We wonder why crime in Minneapolis is the way that it is. I don't have any personal knowledge in Minneapolis, but I have personal knowledge in Portland that there was better choices. There was a better choice. But what places like Portland does, instead of choosing the best choice, they choose butt fucks like Chief Day. And when you don't play the game that they want you to play, the liberal mafia goes after you. The liberal mafia tries to destroy you, tries to destroy your career. People like this guy who feels sorry for his Venezuela, his Latino community, his gang members are the same type of people that tried to destroy real cops' careers. Let that sink in. Now let's look at probably the absolute biggest ass clown in law enforcement. I showed her Sunday night, but I have to show her again because there's some things that we need to cover that I didn't cover Sunday night about her.
Has happened, but we're here today. Let know that law enforcement professionals, real ones, not the fake made up ICE, probably Trump's new army to attack citizens of the United States. Did you hear what I said? No law enforcement professional wears a mask. None. Thank God for our district attorney, Larry Krasner, who say he's going to.
Okay, let's dive into this 24 sandwich, 18 donut eating bitch. She said that no law enforcement officers wear masks. Really? Philadelphia? What about when you mandated your deputies to wear masks during COVID? They were masked then. You made them wear masks. What about then? Law enforcement officers don't wear masks. Yeah, they do. The liberals made law enforcement officers wear masks during COVID, take shots, mandated vaccines that weren't tested. Who's the dictators? Who's the kings? I think it's y'all, Miss Sheriff, who prides herself on being DEI, talks about being DEI. And let me tell you a little bit about her. The Philadelphia sheriff has really no law enforcement authority. They don't have any law enforcement duties. They do courtroom security and civil process. That's what they do. She's not, you talk about they're not the real police. You're not the real police. And you don't have real police working for you. You don't have a force. So you want to get this smoke or whatever stupid things that you said. What smoke are you going to bring? With your old decrepit courtroom security officers? With your civil process servers? You notice that she was standing with the DA from Philadelphia, supporting his rhetoric about arresting ICE officers in the city limits of Philadelphia. So why didn't the Philadelphia police chief, who has a 6,000 man department who actually does law enforcement. Why wasn't he standing there? Probably because he didn't want to be a part of that. Probably because, so they went and found this clown to carry the torch. Let's look at one more clown, and then we'll show you what a real leader looks like.
Never will I ever compromise my integrity for a few crime numbers.
Amen.
Chief Smith
Amen.
was just getting started.
I could never would I compromise my love for God, the faith
My
that
love
I
for
have
God.
in the
Amen.
city. Never would I compromise my integrity. Never would I compromise 28 years in law enforcement for
So this is the DC police chief going off because she was caught. People in her command, which is tied to her, was caught falsifying stats. That's why Trump had to go in and clean up DC because of this wannabe Baptist preacher. This is the kind of clowns that are being employed as police leaders, so-called leaders. This is why we have the problem. This is why President Trump is having to bring the National Guard to come in. This is why ICE is having to go in and clean these cities up of criminal illegals because they are protecting them. So let's look at a real leader. Let's look at a leader that comes from one of the most crime-ridden cities, who comes from the most liberal, one of the most absolute disgusting liberal mayors, but he had the balls to stand up and do what's right, because that's what leaders do.
It's clear. Federal agents, ICE, HSI, are officers. They are agents of law enforcement. If you box them in with vehicles, it is reasonable for them to believe that they are being ambushed and that this could end in a deadly situation. And it's reasonable for them to use force based on those conditions.
That's what a real leader does. Now, he comes from Chicago. The mayor is very anti-Trump, very anti-ICE. But he knows what his job is as a police chief. So before I continue about him, I'm going to go to Mama Luke of the day. Mama Luke of the day are liberal police chiefs. Listen up, liberal police chiefs. You represent the men and women of your department. You lead them. Quit being a jock-riding political pawn to these liberal mayors. All it does is put your officers at danger. They go to work, they start their shift apprehensive because they don't have the trust that the leadership is going to back them up when they get in any kind of use of force incident. Therefore, what happens when they're hesitant? When you're hesitant in law enforcement, you get your ass shot off. So cut it out. You want to be a liberal jock rider? Don't be a police chief. It doesn't fit. You fucking Mama Lukes. Take an example of what I just showed you from the Chicago police chief. Chicago police chief, you don't think he got heat for what he said? But you know what? Sometimes as a leader, you got to be willing to walk alone. He walked alone. He did what's right. He probably prevented, because he is a respected leader, gets up there in front of his community, says, hey, don't do this. Don't obstruct law enforcement officers. Instead, you got these other clowns, and they're encouraging it. They're encouraging protests. They're encouraging riots. But the Chicago police chief stood up and said, not my city, don't do that. Because if you do that, there's going to be consequences. Good for you, Chief of Chicago Police. I didn't catch your name. I'm sorry. That's what real leaders do. Close with what I close with every single day. Nobody's coming to save you. The world does not give a fuck. McGee is out.